Good afternoon and welcome to our daily COVID-19 update for the town of Plymouth. This is update number 22. It is coming to you live on Friday, April 10th, 2020. We are at PAC TV Studios. We are social distancing and our participants are zooming in. I'm Steve Triffletti, your Plymouth Town Moderator, and we're here each day, Monday through Friday at noon for this update. This forum is being brought to you live by PAC TV on Comcast channels 13 and 15 and Verizon channels 43 and 47. You can also watch this on PAC TV's streaming channel by going to pactv.org/live. For your questions during today's forum, please email them to us at plymouthinfo@pactv.org. These forums can be replayed at pactv.org/Plymouth. Today, Ken Tavares and Matt Muratore and I will be joined by our fire chief, Edward Bradley, also Reverend Bill McCoy, also the chair of the Community Preservation Committee, Bill Keohan, and Amy Naples, the executive director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. And as we do each day, we're going to begin with an update from the town. Kenneth Tavares, chair of the Board of Selectmen. Welcome, Ken.
Everyone, a couple of reminders. The Board of Health does ask that we make sure that if we have any friends coming back up from down south, the snowbirds, that they realize they have to be quarantined, and all of the stipulations that have to be met are on our website for the town of Plymouth. So if you know of anyone coming up, just gently remind them of what they have to do before they can fully immerse themselves in the community. Also, the Board of Selectmen will be meeting next Tuesday, the 14th at 1:30. The docket was posted about an hour ago, and there are a number of items on there that we will be taking up next Tuesday. Also, I'd like to remind the community that this is a special week with Passover and the Easter holiday, that we're not going to be able to have our observances the way we're very accustomed to doing them, but this is not the weekend to let our guard down. We're doing well. We need to continue what we've done using masks, keeping the distance from one another. It certainly shows in the statistics that it is working for us, so let's keep it up. We know that there's going to be a desire to get closer to one another, to park a little closer, walk a little closer, but this is not the time to do it. Because we're making gains, we're doing it because you as individuals are making sure that this happens. So let's just continue to do what we've been told for the next few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. That is Kenneth Tavares. He is chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. On April 1st, as town moderator, I did issue a second declaration continuing Plymouth's annual and special town meeting to Saturday, May 30th. Since that time, I've been working with town officials, consulting with the Board of Selectmen and public safety officials in order to determine whether or not it should be further continued. Yesterday, I met with the committee of precinct chairs. All 15 precincts were represented in a Zoom conference that was carried live here on PAC TV, and we received feedback from each of the precincts regarding some of the possible ways in which town meeting may go forward. We're looking at paring down the size of the warrant so that there'll be a limited number of articles for consideration, and we've talked about whether or not to have some type of in-person meeting at Plymouth North High School, respecting social distances, or whether to go to a complete virtual town meeting as we've been doing on these daily updates. Yesterday, all of the precincts and all of the chairs successfully participated in a virtual meeting, and we'll continue to explore that. And also we're working with our legislative delegation in order to determine whether or not special legislation may be enacted in order to allow us to proceed with such a virtual special and annual town meeting. At this time, we'd like to welcome back the Plymouth Fire Chief, Edward Bradley. Welcome, Ed.
Good afternoon, Steve. Thank you for having us again. Welcome, everybody. As far as the fire department goes, we're seeing the same amount of workload as we typically do this time of the year. Nothing's changed. Some of the calls are a little bit different. I think I mentioned before, for instance, motor vehicle accidents are down a little bit, but when the weather got nice last week, we had a few falls from ladders that people were getting out early to get the gutters clean, start painting, and they wanted to get out and get some spring work done. The police officers, firefighters, and our EMTs and paramedics have interacted with well over 50 people that have tested positive for COVID-19, and about the same number again that have all the symptoms but just had, had not been tested yet. We have sent 3 firefighters off to be tested at the site in Gillette. All those tests came back negative. We've been very fortunate so far. There has been no delays on any 911 calls or any types of emergency calls or even calls to get to any patients due to this. We continue to respond. PPE was beginning to have to be an issue and a worry for me. We had enough on site to handle what we had been seeing so far, but we knew that there's going to be a surge coming, and we wanted to make sure that we had some more on hand and in stock. And we saw the breaking news a couple nights ago. You probably did too. The National Strategic Stockpile. 90% of it was gone, was empty. There was only 10% left, and the federal government was keeping that 10% for the federal employees. So we knew that we were on our own. We reached out, and matter of fact, had Selectman Betty Cavaco reach out on her social media site and put out a plea, and we got some really good results. We're feeling a little bit better about the stock that we have here for all of the police officers and firefighters. Brewster Ambulance obviously is taking care of all their people. They have plenty of stock. We even were able to get enough so that we could start helping out the DPW employees. Those people are out there every day also taking care of the infrastructure, keeping the roads working, the water system, the wells, the tanks, the sewer system, and responding to our calls if we have a problem at one of our stations. So we wanted to make sure that they were protected, so we were able to get some PPE and get it over to them. One of the things I want to say, and you'll hear today again a lot of numbers about the numbers of people that are gotten tested and come back positive. But we're also starting to see, and we've been watching, that as many people are recovering and coming out of quarantine and are fine now, that we see getting tested positive. So there's some good news on that side. It's not all bad news. And we also want to talk about some other good news, and that is, as I said before, the calls and the town business goes on, and so isn't the construction out at our North Plymouth fire station. The new one's being built out in Hayes Road. They are on track right now to be able to finish up by the end of June. We'll be able to move into the building. To date, there's been some slight delays because of the COVID-19, and that is with getting some supplies delivered. There's been some of the supply chains have been interrupted because of not enough staffing around, but they've been doing pretty well. And not only are we on track, but really great news is we are under budget by $894,000 plus, almost $900,000 under budget on that building, and we're staying on track at right now. And that's, we have a really good crew out there, the architect, the owner, project manager, and of course, assistant town manager Marlene, who's keeping an eye on it. There's some good news that's going on, and the regular business of the town is continuing to go on.
Thank you. That is Plymouth Fire Chief Edward Bradley. He and the other members of our panel today will be available for questions, which you can email to us at plymouthinfo@pactv.org. And next, today we're going to welcome Bill Keohan. He is the chair of the Community Preservation Committee. Bill, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Steve. I'd like to, so from the, one of the things that the town residents seem to be quite interested in is getting out for fresh air in a walk, but also respecting social distancing. So the conservation parcels of land around the town have come into a great deal of interest when the weather is good. We have a high level of traffic at the Center Hill Preserve and at Foothills Preserve, at Tidmarsh Farms, all across the town. These parking areas are getting a good level of activity. What we'd ask people to do is that parking area is full. Go on to another location. Trying to promote on these conservation parcels where people might be walking that you still need to socially distance. The waterfront gets a lot of activity when the weather is nice. People might opt to take advantage of a piece of conservation land in their neighborhood. If you want to learn more about different parcels of conservation land that are available to hike and the maps for hiking, you'll be surprised. There might be a conservation parcel in your neighborhood that you can actually get to without having to drive in a car. You can go to the town website, go to the Office of Marine Environmental Affairs on the website. They have a listing of different parcels and maps in which you can hike. But again, it's important to continue that policy of social distancing when you're on a hiking conservation land or a hiking trail. And I know the Wildlands Trust of Southeast Massachusetts that has partnered with the town in some of the oversight with the Office of Marine Environmental Affairs and the Community Preservation Committee. They have been working to promote this information at the site with proper signage. So on the conservation land, the Community Preservation Committee is, again, we're happy that these parcels of land that we've acquired on behalf of the town over the years are coming into good use. During an opportunity like this, it's a good opportunity to get out and relax and take a walk. So it's a part of the coping with the stress of something like this when you're home all the time or you're working from home, and it's a good thing to get out and take a walk. The committee can also report that we are moving ahead on other activities of the Community Preservation Committee's recommendations to town meeting, like the 1749 courthouse. They just finished up the reconstruction of some of the framing, and they're starting to work on the roof. We should have the building tight to the weather soon. So work does go on other projects. We were on the phone today with the Vernon Bell Company in Cincinnati. We're working on the town bells. They are dealing with the same issues we're dealing here with in Massachusetts in terms of their manpower and when they'll be able to come and get the bells. So things are kind of on hold with the bell. But I did get news that the pricing of the bell would stay where we had it from town meeting. I was worried that if it stretched out too long, we might have a different pricing. So that was good news that there's a control in the costs with cooperation with the Vernon Bell Company. They're kind of in the same boat we are. But the committee moves forward. And again, if you need an opportunity to relax, there's a good chance there's a parcel of conservation land in your area, your neighborhood, that you can take a walk on and relax. But always remember to socially distance in those parking areas and follow the signage and the rules on the paths.
Thank you. That is William Keohan. He is the chair of the Community Preservation Committee. At the opening of today's update, Chairman Tavares reminded us that this week our faith community leaders are leading us in observing Passover and also Holy Week. And it's also time to remember loved ones. At the church where I worship each year, we have lilies that are donated, and they're memorial lilies in order to remember loved ones. And I'd like to today just pause for a moment to remember a couple of people that have recently passed this life. Yesterday, past town meeting member Thomas F. Burns, who was a resident of a local assisted living community in Plymouth, passed. He is also a veteran of the Army, and for many years he worked at the Pilgrim nuclear power plant, many power plants in the country where he was an inspector. He's survived by his wife, Mary Ellen Burns, who's also a past town meeting member, and their son, Mathew Burns. I've also been in contact with the family of Harry McDonald. He was a resident at the Soldiers' Home in Holyoke, and he's survived by family members that also live locally. And so at this time, we'd also like to remember people. And on Monday, one of our guests will be John Vincent. He is a member of the board of directors for the Massachusetts Funeral Directors Association, and he'll be talking to us about how their association can assist people at this time. And our next guest, we welcome back Reverend William McCoy. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you, Steve. like to offer my condolences to the families and friends of Tom Burns and Harry McDonald, and so many others. Loss of any kind is a burden, of course, but it's all the more heavy when death occurs. A reminder that today is Good Friday, the truth of which speaks to them and to all of us, really. There are different ways to describe the meaning of Good Friday. I personally would say that's a day in the Christian tradition when we remember the extent to which God's love goes to embrace all of us in our suffering, from the hard wood of the cross, it's been said. Good Friday is a celebration of this love, which confronts evil on every front in the world and in our lives. Good Friday asserts the prominence of mercy over judgment. It also promises more than what's familiar to us in this earthly life. One of my favorite lines from Emily Dickinson says, "This world is not conclusion. A sequel lies beyond, invisible as music and positive as sound," pointing really to something more than what we become so familiar with in this earthly journey. Of course, we're also in the midst of Passover. In Judaism, Passover celebrates the Exodus, the freedom from slavery of the Israelites in ancient Egypt. The liberation from oppression, be it political or physical, emotional, or spiritual, is at the heart of most, if not all, religions. In the context of grief, this liberation reminds us that weeping may tarry for the night, in the words of the psalmist, but joy comes in the morning. While grief is never really that short-lived, of course, faith promises comfort and reassurance and strength in every circumstance. All good news for those of us in these circumstances.
Thank you. That is Reverend William McCoy, and he will be returning as we have our questions and also final words from all of our participants. Also on Monday, we'll be joined once again from Mathew McDonough. He is the Register of Plymouth Probate. He'll not only be updating us, but he'll also be talking to us about what families might expect if they have not done their planning with a healthcare proxy or a power of attorney, since his court is now dealing on an emergency basis with people in need of guardianships and DNR determinations. At this time, we're going to continue with Amy Naples. She's the Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, and she joins us each week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Welcome, Amy. And there's Amy. Amy, good afternoon.
Wait a minute, hold on.
And we're happy to have you here on behalf of the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I had a little technical difficulties. I got kicked off of here. I think the high winds, but thank you for having me as always. Today, I just wanted to talk about something a little different. As our pandemic continues to unfold, many of our nonprofit members are feeling the financial strain and suffering revenue loss during the crisis. The Chamber is organizing a virtual nonprofit cash mob this weekend and to support our nonprofit sector. So we are asking you, our amazing community, to make a donation to your favorite local nonprofit. During this time, we've had to resort to our virtual cash mobs where the community makes online purchases, takeout and gift card purchases to keep the momentum of supporting local businesses alive. It's one of our ongoing Shop Small, Shop Local initiatives, and we thought it would be great to honor our nonprofits because a strong nonprofit sector is a vital part of the fabric of our community, making Plymouth a desirable place to live, work, learn, and play. This is also a great opportunity for our community to feel as if they are actively doing something to help. It's certainly no secret we have some incredible members of our community, and we have seen them shine during these difficult times. So we think it's important for us to recognize these wonderful people because their support is what lifts us during these times, and we want to help share these feel-good stories. So we hope you're familiar with the Masks for Meds, who started a GoFundMe campaign to provide personal protective equipment to our healthcare workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. We're thrilled to say the team who organized this has received 53,000 masks for our local hospitals and other healthcare facilities along the South Shore, as well as our responders, police, fire, and EMT. Masks for Meds is a two-phase initiative, and the second part of the initiative is to assist local small businesses and their employees. You can learn more about this very worthy cause by visiting their Facebook page, Masks for Meds. Another initiative I want to recognize today is a GoFundMe campaign called Fuel the Fight Plymouth. This is modeled after a campaign in Philadelphia. A group of Plymouth residents took the initiative to start this campaign, which supports our healthcare heroes and restaurants. The beauty of the program is that it gives our healthcare heroes a catered meal that boosts their morale and shows the support from the community. And at the same time, this helps the restaurants with revenue. Each $1,000 they collect from the campaign, they'll work with a local restaurant on preparing individually packaged meals to the team at BID. And you can learn more about that wonderful cause by going to their GoFundMe page, Fuel the Fight Plymouth. And that is our Feel Good Friday business update.
Thank you. And that is Amy Naples. She's the executive director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Each day we provide you with this update because we want you to receive verified, accurate information from elected officials as well as experts in our community who are able to speak to us about the response to COVID-19. And each day we're joined by one of our elected officials, Plymouth State Representative Mathew Muratore. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone. So our testing capacity in the Commonwealth has drastically increased. We had more tests yesterday than any day since we started this several weeks ago. Yesterday, we increased our testing capacity to almost 7,500 tests. So within the Commonwealth now, again, with the population of around 7 million people, we have about 1.3% of the population that have tested, that have been tested, which is 94,958. Almost 95,000 people have been tested. To date, of those tested, almost 18,941 have been confirmed positive, and that's 20% of those that have been tested. And that is an increase of 2,151 from the day before. And again, these numbers are as of noontime yesterday, which was April 9th. With regards to the deaths have shot up as well. They're at 503 now, which is a little under 3% of those that have been confirmed for the coronavirus. In Plymouth County, there are now 1,507 confirmed cases. Compare that to a population of 512,000 people in Plymouth County. It's a 0.001% that have been confirmed. And in Plymouth, same percentage is 0.001% of the population of the town of Plymouth has confirmed cases, which is 79. Now, keep in mind, we have talked about the modeling that has been done in the state and the projections of what we're thinking is going to happen. And these are from experts that are in the medical field. The modeling suggests that there'll be somewhere between 47 and 172,000 confirmed cases, with around 700 to 2,500 deaths. We are now in the surge at this point. More healthcare workers are required, and the governor yesterday eased some restrictions for foreign educated medical personnel. Also expedited the licensing for nurse students and grads who were in their last semester and will be working under licensed folks. And also, I think the biggest thing for everyone is anytime somebody goes to the physician or does telehealth, the copay will not be an issue whatsoever. The insurance companies will get paid, but it doesn't have to come from the patient. So there should be no worries for anyone to contact their doctor and worry about having to make a copayment. That will be taken care of if it's related to the COVID-19. And with that, in the nursing home industry, there are now 250 National Guard folks that are going to nursing facilities as well as now assisted livings. That started yesterday. And to date, there are 1,633 cases that are confirmed in these facilities. with 159 of these facilities reporting at least one case. And remember, there are about 700 of these facilities throughout the Commonwealth. And if you combine the workers and the residents that live in these facilities, it's around 100,000 people. So again, there's about 1,633 cases of these. Yesterday, I touched upon briefly about domestic violence and sexual assault resources. There's an expansion of what's called the Safe Link line that if you are experiencing any of this, this number is going to be 24/7. It's 877-785-2020, 2020. So 877-785-2020. So please feel free. It's confidential, and again, it's 24/7. The CARES Act, which is the federal unemployment law that came out. We touched upon this yesterday, that there has been some guidance from the federal government now for unemployment. There will be a $600 a week added to folks who are already on unemployment or about to start collecting unemployment. It will go retroactive back to the end of March. So there's nothing more you need to do about it. It'll just automatically happen. And for those that are not covered under unemployment, the so-called 1099 employees, those who are consultants, or if you're self-employed, we have the guidance now from the federal government of how to pay you. However, the unfortunate part is you're not in this unemployment system. So the platform, the software has to be built up now to include all people in the system. So that's being worked on as we speak. The outside date that will be completed is April 30th. I know myself and other legislators have expressed our concerns to the governor and to the staff that it's still a long time away. If there's anything that can be done to help speed up the process, we would really appreciate it if that could happen for our 1099 and self-employed folks. So we are actively working on that. Also under this, the CARE Act, for folks who were taking unemployment prior to this whole pandemic happening, and then they exhausted their benefits. We're waiting for federal guidelines on that for folks, but they will be able to collect another 13 weeks. So they'll be able to be activated again, even though their benefits had exhausted. So that will be coming out shortly as well. And just to put the numbers in perspective a little bit, there have been almost 500,000 people in the last 3 weeks that have filed for unemployment. In a typical month in Massachusetts, it's about 7 to 10,000. So you can see the magnitude of the numbers of how many people have actually been applying for unemployment in the last 3 weeks. Again, it's almost 500,000, 470,000 to be exact. With that said, there is a job portal that's open for the surge that's happening now for healthcare workers. We are looking for healthcare workers that maybe you're not working now or you're able to work now. There is a portal to go into. It's mass.gov/join COVID team. If you go in there and you're interested in working, you'll be able to get on the front lines and start working within 24 to 48 hours. But please go to mass.gov/join COVID team, and you'll get all the information and can sign up for that. And finally, and this has been something that probably unemployment is probably the number one issue that we get questions on in our office on a daily basis. But the second one really is the MCAS. The Senate and the House yesterday did come to an agreement on the bill, and it's on the governor's desk as we speak. We expect him to sign it today. But the MCAS will be delayed. Will be canceled for the rest of this school year. So I think that was some good news. I know there was a lot of anxiety with students. I know some of my kids who are still anxious about it, and also the teachers and administration were as well. So it's good that when the governor signs that we'll be able to waive the MCAS. And speaking of schools too, the Plymouth schools have decided that they're going to cancel the April vacation that's coming up. And what that allows now is that now they can actually still end the regular school year, which will be June 19th. So they will not have to add the 5 days. That was the original order, probably from the governor about 3 weeks ago, that they'd only have to add 5 days to that, but now will not have to do that. So by going through April vacation, the school year will end on June 19th. And that is, one more, Steve, that just came in from the Registry of Motor Vehicles. For those folks that have their motorcycle road tests, you have until May 4th. If you've been waiting or been canceled, you now have till May 4th at this point to take the test. My guess is that may be delayed as well. And all CDL road tests are still being conducted as scheduled. So you need to contact the Mass RMV for more information on that. And that is the update for today, Steve.
Thank you. And that is Plymouth State Representative Mathew Muratore, who joins us each day, Monday through Friday. And as he mentioned about the Plymouth Public Schools, next week we're going to be joined on 3 different days by 3 Plymouth Public School officials who will be giving us an update, which we try to provide to you each and every day. Looking to Monday, in addition to Selectman Chair Ken Tavares and State Representative Mathew Muratore, as I indicated earlier, we will also hear from Matthew McDonough, the Registrar of Plymouth County Probate Court, John Vincent, who is a member of the Board of Directors for the Massachusetts Funeral Directors Association. Also, for the first time, Ann Dunn. She is the Director of Assessing for the Town of Plymouth, and Jennifer Harris. She is the Library Director for the Plymouth Public Library. And Amy Naples will be providing our business segment from the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Each day, our presentations are date stamped so that you will know as to whether or not you're watching the live presentation that occurs between 12 and 1 or whether it is a replay. We do these updates for many reasons. Earlier I mentioned, as we extended condolences to some families that have lost loved ones, when I was speaking with the Burns family, Mary Ellen told me that she and her husband, during the final days of his life, each day did continue to tune in to watch the daily update. As both of them were past town meeting members, they found comfort in hearing from local officials and other people in the community that they knew. They come from a Catholic tradition. It was comforting for them to hear from Father John Cullity for the 2 times when he joined us. So we will continue to do these presentations for as long as it is warranted as a response to our members and loved ones in the Plymouth community. And at this time, we are going to take your questions. The first question, which may be for any one of our members, it is from actually a town meeting member, and he writes, I am in a high-risk group as an 87-year-old member of the community, and I am reluctant to go out to markets. There are times when people put things on my doorstep. I'm having difficulty ordering deliveries for food. And are there any ways in which to make this easier? And I just begin by saying that certainly Michelle Brady has been on each day, often as our Director of Elder Services, and they have been supporting our seniors. Kenneth Tavares, anything you'd like to add for an 87-year-old senior in our community?
Certainly, and that is to call the Council on Aging, or as it's known now, the Center for Active Living. Michelle has been very attentive to each and every call that's come in, and arrangements can be made to assist this individual.
And also at the state level, Mathew Muratore, you also work with seniors in your other life and your professional. Anything else you can suggest for this 87-year-old town meeting member?
No, I think Ken is actually correct. That's the best way to do it. There are, though, people out there, particularly college students, high school students that I've been hearing about that are helping elderly people by shopping for them or, going to the pharmacy to pick up something. So I think Michelle is probably the best resource. And if there are neighbors in his area, I'm sure, they would be willing to help as well.
Thank you. And Michelle Brady, Director of Elder Services, was on yesterday. She'll be joining us again once each and every week. And at this time, in addition to sending your questions to PlymouthInfo@pactv.org. We do hear once again from each of our participants. They've had a chance to listen to each other, and we'd like each of them to provide us with their closing thoughts today and the message they'd like to leave with you. And we're going to begin with Fire Chief Edward Bradley. Chief Bradley, what would be something that you'd want our viewers to remember today?
Well, I want them to remember that regardless of what happens, your first responders and your police officers, firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics will be there. If you call, we will respond. Nothing's going to stop us. We will get through this, but we do want you to be careful, especially in the next couple of weeks during the surge. It's not the time now to give back any ground to this nasty virus. And if you need us, give us a call.
Thank you. And that was Edward Bradley. He is the Plymouth Fire Chief, the Plymouth Fire Department, joining us once again. William Cohen, you are the Chair of the Community Preservation Committee. What would you like viewers to remember today following this presentation?
I'd like to reiterate what Amy Naples from the Chamber indicated, that try to reach out to your favorite nonprofit in the area that's dealing with this issue. Over the years, the Community Preservation Committee has worked directly with the Task Force for the Homeless. We've been able to acquire properties where they can do long-term housing. I know they're working to extend the programs that they provide to the homeless that requires additional fundraising. So if you have a chance, that's one organization that we've worked with in the past that's struggling at this time to raise the necessary funds to continue their programming, and that's the Task Force for the Homeless here in Plymouth. And again, take advantage of the opportunity to visit your local conservation land, keeping social distancing, walking, getting fresh air. Follow the signage. The town has put up signage. The Wildlands Trust has put up signage, explain to people how one would behave on a walking trail in terms of social distancing. And if you find one area more crowded than the other, go online to the town website, go to the Department of Marine Environmental Affairs, and they have a list of different conservation lands in mapping and where you can go. And again, always stay safe, and happy Easter to all.
And Bill, before you leave us, there was a question that came in, and the question is, what is the status, or can you provide us with an update for the Plymouth Bell restoration?
The Bell restoration is the Vernon Bell Company has been awarded the contract. They're in Cincinnati, Ohio. They have been able to visit the Bell on a couple of occasions and take the information they needed from the Belfry. The Belfry and the Town Bell are located in Town Square in the National Pilgrim Memorial Meeting House. They've been able to visit there and take their measurements, take their notes. They're waiting to in Ohio to get the all cleared at some point to come to Plymouth, pick up the bell pots and bring them to Cincinnati for their restoration. So we're working with the Vernon Bell Company to adjust to the new time frame. They've assured us that the pricing that they had quoted us, they can hold that through this episode. And when things are better, we will continue with the Bell, and hope is to have the Bell repaired sometime this year and operating. It's operating right now. The Bell is ringing right now. We haven't shut it down. So the Town Bell is still operating, and we hope to resolve the restoration after we have an opportunity to move around like we had before.
Thank you. That is William Cohen. He's the chair of the Community Preservation Committee. Your questions are coming in at PlymouthInfo@pactv.org. I'm going to go to a question, and I'll ask Matt Muratore, possibly Ken Tavares, and it has to do with an update on legislation extending the payment of real estate tax bills until June 1st. Representative Muratore?
The state has already passed that. It's now up to the town. So I think Ken can probably answer what it may be on the agenda for Tuesday's meeting. I'm not sure.
Kenneth Tavares, Chair of the Board of Selectmen, further answering?
Yeah, it is on the agenda for Tuesday. It will be the second item on the agenda.
Thank you. And that meeting, I believe, is at 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. And that's your update on that question. We're now going to continue with our panel for closing thoughts and things to remember with Reverend Bill McCoy. And Bill, last time you were with us, you also talked about a group where you're involved. Tell us also a little bit about this organization, because you work with families who survive people who have passed on due to a homicide.
Yes, it's the South Shore Resource and Advocacy Center here in Plymouth, which is primarily a domestic violence agency. And I appreciate Matt giving a phone number for anybody who may be at risk. You can also call our agency number. Advocates are available 24/7. There is a hotline, and I'm going to give you that number now. It's 508-746-2664 for the South Shore Resource and Advocacy Center, 508-746-2664. Yeah, my work is I meet with survivors of homicide victims throughout Plymouth and Bristol counties, go to court with them when the courts are open, and we run a group too. Karen Fabrizio and I run a group that meets. We're now meeting by way of Zoom. I'm also chaplain of the Brockton Fire Department. In any case, that's something Ed might want to know. There are ways to find spiritual resources during this time online. The Southern New England Conference of my own denomination, United Church of Christ, has a number of resources. CatholicCurrent.org is another site to go to, all of which provide places to find prayers and music and whatever might help with the coping of this stressful situation. I found it kind of amusing in a way that Chance the Rapper the other day on TV spoke of a passage from Scripture that he found especially helpful from Matthew's Gospel. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will have rest for your souls. The words of Jesus in Matthew's Gospel. And I have to commend some folks who did something along these lines, and it's really the truth of Good Friday. Some folks I know at High Point Treatment Center in Brockton, where I have a little office as well. They tried to revive somebody who went into cardiac arrest just last Sunday, and they gave it their all. And this is a remarkable staff. We hear about healthcare workers doing their part. And my word, these folks took heroic measures. They did not succeed. This man was pronounced dead at Brockton Hospital. But black and white and brown in between, these staff really were doing everything they could to try to revive him. And that to me is an example of a Good Friday truth. And I commend them and am grateful for that kind of commitment. Again, as I see it, this is very much in keeping with Good Friday faith. I think somebody said last week when I was on, we are to social distance, but that does not mean spiritual distance. We can be there for each other and trust in our faith traditions to carry us through.
Thank you. That is Reverend William McCoy, and we thank you for your good words on Good Friday. And as we continue, Amy Naples, the Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, what can we remember today?
Sure. Actually, I just wanted to add one item from the question earlier from the gentleman asking about groceries. Quintals has an excellent service. They do delivery, and I believe it is free for seniors. So that is a great resource that people can call for fresh produce and meats, and they will deliver it to your home or pick up. But as we prepare for Easter Sunday, I certainly want to let you know that the Chamber created a guide for restaurants that will be open on Easter Sunday with takeout. In addition, we've created a guide for last minute gifts for Easter. You can visit the Chamber's Facebook page for the listing. It is just Plymouth Area Chamber. We hope you support local this Easter Sunday and enjoy the day with your families. And as always, if I can be of any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at 508-830-1620 or by email at amy@plymouthchamber.com. Distance socially and support locally.
Thank you. Amy Naples is the Executive Director of Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. This is our 22nd update from Plymouth responding to COVID-19. Each day we do have a closing remarks from the Plymouth State Representative, Mathew Muratore. Matt.
Thank you, Steve. And again, thank you to all our guests here today. Some great information. Chief, thank you to the firefighters, the police, the first responders, for what all you are doing. It's more appreciated now than probably ever to see what you're all going through. To all our healthcare providers, to daycare employees, to all our folks who are in the restaurants or grocery stores, we really thank what they are doing, and we also need to thank our chairman of the board, Ken Tavares, and Melissa Origi, and the rest of the board members for their leadership in this community. We have really come together more than I've ever seen this community come together. What I see, and I talk to my colleagues on the state legislature almost on a daily basis, and just seeing what's happening around in other communities, we're really blessed with the leadership we have here and the employees we have here and what we are all doing here. So thank you. And again, on this Easter weekend, we are very blessed to have all this leadership and all these employees we have. So happy Easter to folks, happy Passover to everyone. And as I say every day, first of all, there's three things. You stay informed. Stay informed by reaching out to mass.gov/COVID-19. If you have questions on a state level, dial 211. To get alerts by text, COVID-MA to 888-777. And by the way, today's governor's press conference is at 2 p.m. today. And if you sign up for this text, you'll find out ahead of time when the governor is speaking every day. And also, if you have questions on your health, feel free to go to bowie.com/mass. Also, stay home, as everyone's saying. We are in the surge now. We will get through this, and stay calm. Stay calm, enjoy your loved ones. But most of all, remember, the more we come together by staying apart, the faster we'll be back to the people we love and the things we love to do. Thank you again to PAC TV, to Steve, and happy Easter and a blessed Passover to everybody.
Thank you. That is Plymouth State Representative Mathew Muratore. And yes, we do appreciate the ongoing support from Julie Thompson and the people here at PAC TV. And they do want you to know today that we had a slight break in the transmission for about 20 seconds. For those of you that may have missed that and want to see what you missed, you can still see it on the replay on the streaming at pactv.org. And at this time,
was there anything I said, Steve?
No, it was before you, Matt.
Missed?
No worries. And now
I'll
we're going to
repeat
go back.
everything if it was mine.
We're going to go back to Selectman Chair Kenneth Tavares for his closing statement. Welcome back, Ken.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you to Matt for your kind words. We certainly have seen a great coming together of this community, and it makes me very proud to be a resident of this town. Each day I have begun in my own personal life with prayer, asking God to give us the strength. And I feel very blessed that is being answered. And it is to give us the strength to be kind, to be patient with one another, and to be observant. Certainly we can do that in our own neighborhoods. We know our habits and what's going on. And if you see someone in distress, it certainly is incumbent upon us to provide relief. I ask you this weekend, because of the holidays that are being observed, to keep your distance, use your mask, and be kind to one another. Thank you.
Thank you. And that is Kenneth Tavares. He is the chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. We want to thank him and State Representative Mathew Muratore and all the members of today's panel who participated. They included Fire Chief Edward Bradley, William Keohan. He is the chair of the Community Preservation Committee. Also, Reverend William McCoy and Amy Naples, the executive director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Will be here each and every day, Monday through Friday at noon. On Monday of next week, we have Ken and Matt and I will be joined by Matthew McDonough, the Register of Plymouth County Probate Court, and also John Vincent, who is a member of the Board of Directors for the Massachusetts Funeral Directors Association. Also, Ann Dunn, she is the Director of Assessing for the Town of Plymouth, and Jennifer Harris, she is the Library Director for the Town of Plymouth. And on each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are also welcoming back Amy Naples, the Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. All of us here in the Town of Plymouth and at PAC TV Studios, we wish you a very safe and healthy weekend. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve Triffletti, Plymouth Town Moderator. Thank you and good day.